I can't really lie. When the TT first came out, despite what everyone else had to say about it, the styling of it left me a little bit cold. Sure, it was a great handling sports car with a cracking interior, but the exterior didn't really do it for me. Then the third generation came along, and all of a sudden my mind was changed. I fell completely in love with the TT, and now for this year, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the TT no less, they've made a few more changes to the exterior styling and a few adaptations to the drivetrain to make it even better than the car I fell in love with before. TT is for the tourist trophy, is for the Isle of Man, and that's where Audi have taken us today, to the home of the TT, to experience the new car, have a bit of fun and fall in love all over again. The car I had at my disposal on the island was the new TTS, which I got in the competition spec, which, amongst a few other trim touches, added a nifty fixed rear wing. And if there's something that gets this boy excited, it's a fixed rear wing. Those subtle changes are mainly around the front and rear corners, where some of the edges have been smoothed out, and the addition of front and rear vents give an overall great look, even if they are unfortunately fake. The front fascia has completely reshaped. The front splitter now has this continuing line which gives it a broader stance on the road. Overall, it feels more balanced than it ever has. The interior as well is typical Audi fare. Although the screen right in front of you on the steering wheel has, all the bells and whistles you might want to, the rest of the cabin is kept clean. Apart from the three really prominent vents right here in the middle, there isn't much else to distract you from what's dead in center, in front of your eyes. It's not just some subtle tweaks to the styling that separate this car from the outgoing model. The new TTS has itself a new 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, good for just over 300 horsepower and 295 pounds-feet of torque. 0 to 62 is 4.5 seconds, and you can go up through the 7-speed S-tronic gearbox to a limited top speed of 155 miles an hour. It falls well short of the performance of the top-of-the-line RS version of the TT, but it's certainly enough to get you off the line and up to some pretty entertaining speeds swiftly. We've got the S-tronic gearbox here, which you can use to shift yourself, but it's very eager to take back control itself. And several times when I've been going up and down this straight at speed, I've lamented the fact that it's grabbed a higher gear when I've wanted to hold on just that little bit longer, even though it says I'm in manual mode. The paddle shifters on Audis are always something to complain about. These little plastic things here don't really give you much of a sensation of anything. You never really feel you've pulled it properly, and it doesn't give changing gear any kind of drama whatsoever. But the shifts are quick enough and responsive, and if you can get round the fact that the car is trying to second guess you, it can still be a lot of fun. Even if you keep it in the automatic mode, it will pick the right gear for you most of the time in dynamic mode, responding to your foot and dropping where needed. Handling wise, the TT still provides you with everything the package has always wanted to deliver. The wheels push right out to the corners, and that short wheelbase give you the brilliant handling that out here on the mountain roads on the Isle of Man really come into their own. That name TT really starts to make sense right here on the island. The driving modes allow you to dial this into exactly what you want it to be. Personally, I prefer everything in dynamic with the exception of the suspension. It isn't too firm in its most dynamic setting, but softening it up just gives you a more pleasurable drive and allows you to feel the weight transfer just that little bit more, drive on the throttle a little bit more carefully, and it's a little less unforgiving. Now, Audi is actually Latin for listen. And in the turbocharged era, listening might not necessarily be the sense that's the most fulfilled, but you still get that nice, hollow, throaty roar deep in the background, but you have to keep your foot buried to hear it. The latest version of Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system keeps you pretty planted through the twisties, and when pushing it through some tight mountain bends I didn't experience any understeer issues. Which is good, because even though the car gripped really well, the steering felt a little numb. Where I would have preferred a lot of communication coming back through the wheel, it felt more detached than you would want when pushing the car. Even in its most dynamic mode, it didn't quite sharpen up enough for my liking. Equally, the throttle response was slightly hesitant when planting your foot coming out of corners, but neither issue was enough to take too much away from the overall experience. The brilliant grip and ample power were certainly enough to keep the smile on your face from drooping even a tiny bit.
And isn't that all a sports car really has to do? Put a smile on your face and maybe allow you to skip a heartbeat or two? And driving the TT on the TT circuit on the Isle of Man, sometimes things just make sense.
So the changes to the new TTS are small, but frankly it didn't need to change much to still be a great car. Although I haven't fallen in love all over again, it's been a great reminder of how brilliant the TTS always was.